children because our United States military was put in place to do what it's supposed to do, because the police, which is the frontline military really of every society, those police are not being allowed because of evil people to do their jobs. They're actually being told in New York to stand down. They're not being told that they can go out there and take it by force. They need to be able to be released, to be able to do what they're called to do, which is to bring law and order into place so those that are lawless are subdued and they can no longer continue in the sin of the destruction that is going forth right now. It is absolutely, positively the most scriptural, sound message that every one of you has a choice today. You have a choice to be the passive person who's going to stick your head in the sand, or you have the choice to be a journalist, as Scribe is, and to be able to write some of the greatest pieces that he's ever wrote with prayerful consideration as the Ruach breathes into him and speaks to him and through him to write some of the greatest pieces he's ever written. Is he going to get $100,000 a year salary like, you know, a New York Times writer would get? No. But
1 minute remaining.
In writing what he may write, the reward from heaven that he may get could be so priceless as he lays up treasures in heaven that we can't even fathom the payment that we get in working for Abba Yah. You know, I know what a radio DJ can get paid, and it ain't a whole lot. It's like a joke compared to most of the jobs that I've had. I could have went down the road of being a DJ professionally at radio stations, because I was a DJ, you know, with Rock and Roll Ricey's Classic Rock Friday Show as an independent, and I had an independent voice, and I was a contractor, and I contracted in, and then Scribe and I worked together to do events. For 10 years, we did business events, and I was the voice at a lot of those events, and I did, you know, a lot of DJ work, you know, with a lot of those events. And now here I am, you know, running this broadcast for almost a whole decade, and we've done blog TV, and we have been media ministers. We're not the 700 Club. Our news is not Christian Broadcast Network. Love Live, Ruach, Remnant, Reality, Radio, and these MP3s that we're putting forth will reach, I believe, millions and millions of ears. And it's going to convict a lot of people, because they're going to have to take a look at one point. Was I part of the synagogue of Satan, or was I a Talmudim? Was I a Galal Talmudim? Was I a committed disciple, a committed follower of Yeshua HaMashiach, or was I part of the synagogue of Satan? We are going to allow people, because our messages are going to come forth so clear that, you know, we don't make the statement on this line, well, we're not under the law. You know, that is the most ridiculous Christian statement made. And you know how you could prove it right now? If any one of those Christians that are throwing that we're not under the law doctrine around, if their house was on fire right now and their children were being killed by the lawless synagogue of Satan people that are out in the streets right now doing all these acts of violence, if they were raping this man's wife that was a Christian teacher that made that statement, all of a sudden, miraculously, he would be upset. Wow, you're raping my wife. Yeah, well, what's wrong with that? You're raping my wife. Well, yeah, man, what's wrong with that, dude? Come on, bro, she's just a hoe. You're raping my wife. Yeah, you got to understand. You got to understand that guy is yelling out, "You're raping my wife," and thinking it's wrong, and is upset because it's wrong because that guy that's raping his wife is doing what? He's violating the Torah. He's violating the law. Rape is definitely, very clearly stated in the 613 instructions as one of the things we are not supposed to do. Number 2, if he's not married to that woman, then he is a fornicator.
Complete your call at this time. Please try your call again later. Goodbye.
He's a fornicator. Let me see if I'm still on. Yeah. So number 2, he's violating the Torah, that guy that's lawless, right? Because he's fornicating. Number 3, that's a married woman. So he's committing adultery. Number 4, he's coveting because he's wanting his neighbor's stuff. You're not supposed to want your neighbor's wife. You're not supposed to want your neighbor's animals. You're not supposed to want your neighbor's property. I mean, we can go right on down the line and look at all the Torah violations, but the crazy part is that Christian leader, that Christian person who's shoving his doctrine, well, we're not under the law, is the very guy that's going to want that law and wanting to be under it when all of a sudden he's under the synagogue of Satan, because Revelation 2 and 3, as we read yesterday, all of a sudden becomes a reality. All of a sudden the things that were prophesied by Yehochanan or Jonathan, right, all of a sudden this stuff is like coming out, and John the Revelator nails it because now we see it and we hear it and it's visible, and the book of Revelation has now come to life again, which it's been. Prophecies have been getting fulfilled as we get closer and closer and closer to the time when Yeshua comes back. So we need to understand very, very, very clearly here that Yahweh's been right all along, and we standing with Yah and what His Word says, that it's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth will help us, Yah, and for us to get our ducks in a row, and whatever our own personal fleshly things that are fighting that law are all about, we need to crucify them as quickly as possible and get ourselves right and bring our messages forth without any fear, and to stand in such a time as this for something. Don't be wishy-washy. Don't be codependent. Be Yah-dependent. A wishy-washy person is the Democrat right now that will not speak out against the violence, because those are the people that vote for Democrats. That's Joe Biden's constituency. He can't speak against the protesters because, first off, they're not protesters. They are lawless criminals. Now you might say, oh, but there are peaceful people out there. Yeah, and here's the manipulation of the evil of the synagogue of Satan. They are smart enough to use the human shields of the good people that are wrapped into that are protesting against racism, which is a very, at this point, unfortunately, a very small situation versus the other lawless acts. Is racism a big deal? Of course it's a big deal. I didn't just say that it's insignificant. So listen to what I am saying. What I'm saying is that what's going on in the anarchy has nothing to do with fixing racism. To serve Satan and to go lawless does not fix sin. You don't fix sin with more sin. You don't. There's a time and a season for everything, and, you know, if we have to take it by force to stop the lawlessness, to stop the madness in this country right now, because probably, I'm guessing, in my Ruach, from what I have going, this is just a taste of what's to come. This is just a taste. But I will tell you, there has been documentation that Antifa has already been caught saying that they aren't just going to be attacking these business districts. They're going to start attacking suburban neighborhoods. They're going to come out to your houses next, and they are going to rape your wives. They are going to kill your children. That's pretty much the message that was caught. They've caught them. They've busted them. So this is premeditated lawlessness. You know, they're setting up bricks and Molotov cocktails and different things in different places in construction sites. They're so sneaky and so evil that they'll have a construction site during the day where they'll bring in a pallet full of bricks, and within all of that you think it's just bricks to go ahead and build a building. And then we find out that they're strategically placed in the right places because those bricks are going to be thrown at police officers, and police officers are going to be killed. One of the original statements by one of the women that stood by this best friend of Floyd said, "We're going to kill 2 police officers for every one of us that they kill." So they literally publicly on media made a threat that they were going to kill our law enforcement, our Torah enforcement. Thou shalt not kill is a Torah instruction. The police are supposed to stop the killing. Yes, we know that one made a huge mistake, but we have got to remember that huge mistake is an exception to the rule, because 99% of police officers are not in the brutality category. They're not doing police brutality 99%. There's 1%. And you know what? In every congregation I've ever built, there's way worse than 1% that are evil or are lawless or are rotten or are going to turn on me, turn on you. They're going to be a Jezebel spirit. There's more than 1%. The statistics are worse within a congregation than what they are out there in the police department. Honestly. And that doesn't say a whole lot for Christians or for, you know, Judaism, and actually Judaism is one of the highest statistics of excellence that there is. Why? Because the Judaism is based on the Torah. So they don't have as many divorces, they don't have as much theft within their society. I mean, the list of them following and keeping things righteous according to Yahweh is higher in that society than anywhere else. And they have like a 98% success rate in marriages. And right now, we have only in the United States, we're between 30 and 40% in society. Guess what it is in Christianity? The same as society. They don't look at all different than society does. They have about 30 or 40 out of every marriages that succeed within the Christian church today. But 98% succeed in Judaism. And again, we're not Judaism. We're not Islam. We're not Christianity. We're the Galal Talmidi, or the Galal Talmudim. We are the followers, the committed followers. That's what Galal means, is committed. Followers, Talmidim, or disciples of Yeshua. That's who we're supposed to be, according to Scripture. Christianity was invented many, many, many years later. I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of the original. And I hope you do too. I hope that's where your heart is at. In this celebration of Shavuot, which, it's amazing because I think after Shavuot is over, we should continue to teach on it, because Monty Judah made a great point, and he said, Christians and Hebrew Roots movement people and et cetera, they get an A- on teaching the Pesach or Passover to people. They get probably a B+ on teaching Sukkot or the Feast of Tabernacles to people. But when it comes to Shavuot, when it comes to the honoring of the giving of the Torah and the giving of the Ruach on Pentecost, we get a D- on teaching. And I started quizzing the students. I started quizzing even the teachers on this line to see where you guys were at. And I think he's right. I think people don't know this storyline. I think they don't know this part of Scripture very well at all. The scribe probably knows it better than most of you. And I give him a lot of credit. I give credit where credit is due. He studied a lot over the years, and that's called a Harley Davidson. It's okay. You're hearing the rumbling going down the street. It might be a truck though too. All I can say is we have got to be who we're supposed to be for such a time as this. And you as media ministers, I just really want you to hear this. Again, disappointed that someone is not on here this morning and it's this late. So I got to figure out what the heck happened, because when I started talking about all of this yesterday, she disappeared, and I don't know what the reason for that was. I did get a call from her yesterday, and it was during my nap time, because I have now scheduled a nap every day. So please don't reach out to me and try to call me between the hours of 12 to 1:30. I usually can't even sleep for the full 90 minutes. I have a hard time sleeping for the 4 hours that I have scheduled at night, from 11:30 to 3:17, which isn't even a full 4 hours. I usually wake up in between that. So I've got to schedule the nap in there to be able to pull off this schedule of 19-hour days of being awake and trying to run on 4 or 5 hours. It's the only way I can function. So I figure if I structure it with an alarm clock telling me, okay, just close your eyes for. And so yesterday it was, I fell asleep. It was after 10 after 12, my time, which is for you in Wisconsin, all you guys, is 2:10 is when I fell asleep, and I woke up at your time 3:10, and could not fall back to sleep. Just laid there, with a million thoughts going through my head. So I'm going to play this again, and I please ask you to stay on. I please ask you to listen to this. because it's probably one of the best media minister type rants that needs to really prick the hearts of the people with conviction. And again, he goes after Trump, he goes after Jared Kushner, he goes after Republicans, he goes after Democrats, he goes after everybody. And it's good. It's good. I am not a Republican, contrary to what some people think. I go for what's righteous, for those that are following the Torah better than anybody else, and that's who I lean towards. It just so happens that the Republicans seem to have more righteous people than on the other side. And, now is a perfect example. When they've got a fund already set up where Democrats are bailing these people out as soon as the lawless are being arrested, and in New York, now they have you don't even have to pay bail. They're going to arrest you, they're going to take you down to the station, they're going to book you, and then they're going to release you. That's as bad as the catch and release program that we had on the border, where we were catching heroin dealers and fentanyl people and all these kinds of sex traffickers and everything else. We're catching them at the border, and then we release them, but we don't even release them on the Mexican side. We were releasing them into the United States. You want to talk, and the Democrats wrote these policies. Yeah, I'm against anybody that writes stupid laws, because this is a huge responsibility. If you are put as a congressman or a senator and your job is to write laws and pass those laws or those bills into law, you have a huge responsibility that touches the very garment, the very tzitzits of Yeshua. Because those tzitzits, when she reached out to touch the hem of that garment, the Torah is so respected, the law is so respected, that the little fringes, the little threads that you see me wear and others wear, those strings are scripturally written to represent and honor that you honor the Word, you honor the Torah. And you're supposed to wear them as jewelry, so to speak, on the four corners of your clothing to protect you. Because you're supposed to symbolically realize that you having the Word written on the tablets of your heart is going to be a protection for you against lawlessness, against lawless people who want to rape your wife, who want to kill your children, who want to destroy your property, because they worship through the synagogue of Satan, and they are evangelists for that religion that is existing right before your very eyes. Many of them, it would not be surprising whatsoever to me, maybe it would be to you, that after they get done doing all of their stuff, they sit around a five-pointed star and Ouija boards and all kinds of crazy witchcraft and sorcery, and they're calling down Satan into the midst of their stuff. Why would that not be surprising to me? Because the Satanists actually came out when Detroit was going bankrupt, which, by the way, all of your societies, the big cities that are going bankrupt, are all led by Democrats. I mean, let's call it out for what it is. They want to continue to steal the money from the people that work hard in the form of what's called taxes, so they can not be, according to, again, Scripture, let's look at this scripturally, not be good stewards of what they are taking from you, because they should be taking that tax money and it should be invested into this society that we're supposed to live under with a real fruitful benefit, but it's not. Much of it's being stolen and is going off into Swiss bank accounts in the Caymans and in Switzerland and everywhere around the world. There is money that is being skimmed from us nonstop. Nonstop. It's a lawlessness beyond thing. And you know what? I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this up until the time of Hair on Fire. I'm going to shut it off. We'll do Hair on Fire. We'll do Marketplace Ministry. And then I'm going to continue with the second half of this Tucker Carlson message. Because, again, as a writer, he was deemed as an incredible person, like a scribe, like a Scott Scribe-Pratt. He was an incredible writer. When he wrote for a magazine, I guess, or a newspaper, I heard yesterday as the commentators on the 5, they were all saying, this is the best piece of work that they've ever seen him do. And I'm going to tell you, it's shocking, it's intense, it's in your face, and it confronts Republicans and Democrats. It confronts everybody. And it pretty much lights a fire under Trump's butt to bring the military in, which is why I think he did it. Underlying, he wants this to end and stop now. And the only way it's going to stop is if we bring the lawless into a lawful place. They have to, and there has to be new bills that are written, and our society has to face this racism situation head on. And I said this right away as soon as this happened. Trump needs to bring together all the black pastoral leadership that have been saying that they support him, and all those pastors that are supportive, and there's a lot of them that are of color. They need to sit down and be an active part of writing a bill that is anti-racist and that will protect the civil rights of them and all people, because ultimately this has turned into something that it didn't start as when they started protesting. But taking that original reason of why the protesting started, let's solve that once and for all. Let's quit talking about it. I don't want to hear old Biden saying that I'm going to take care of this and I got all this agenda when I get out. You've been in office for 40 years. You and Obama had an opportunity. Obama had an opportunity to be a Martin Luther King, and let's face it, he wasn't. He wasn't even close. He didn't do nothing. In fact, he made things worse, and if you look at the statistics, you'll see that. And statistically, this is not in Tucker Carlson's information, but this is the statistical fact, and you can take this out there and you can start to spread this within your ministry, and this is the truth about police brutality. Police brutality amongst all people has been reduced over the last decade, okay? So under the Trump administration, which is now going on 4 years of that last decade, there's been a reduction in police brutality by 75%. So it's not getting worse like the protesters are saying. It's not. And as far as the racist aspect of the statistic, it's actually higher amongst whites. There's more police brutality amongst whites than there are amongst blacks. The blacks have actually gone down. The police brutality against blacks has gone down much more than it has gone down against whites. So there's the truth of some statistics for you that you can actually stand on instead of listening to all this false information. Again, we're talking about a Torah instruction here. Most of the people, when they're out there doing their political stuff, they lie and they lie and they lie so that they can help their side win something. And that happens on the Republican side and the Democratic side. And I am so sick of that. And you should be too if you are a Torah keeper, if you are a Ruach reality person, if you're someone that lives in the Ruach, then liars, you realize their father is the devil, just like the Scripture says, and you stand on that. And you don't minimize, rationalize, and justify their lies because they're a Democrat and you're trying to be a Democrat. You don't minimize, rationalize, and justify their lies because they're Republican. You don't go with that. So again, Biden has been talking about that he's been for the blacks for 40 years. and he has done literally nothing. He has not written one bill. He, as a senator, all those years, he didn't have any bills that he wrote. All he does is every time he's about to get elected, he makes a bunch of speeches. He's a bunch of talk with no walk. That's the truth about Biden. The truth about Trump, he said a lot of things when he ran for campaign, and since he's been in office, he has done and fulfilled more campaign promises than any president in the history. That's a statistical fact. He said, I'm going to come against the deep state, the swamp, the corruption within our government, and believe me, they have been kicking and screaming ever since he got elected because they know he made that statement, and they know that he's got the inside scoop on the Q. He's got the inside scoop with what the truth is, the underlying factors of what the FBI has been corrupted in, what the DOJ has been corrupted. He sees it all. Now they just have to prove it in a court of law, and these people need to go to jail. That's where we're really at. But what's going on? The lawless are uprising because if they win this election, they might be able to get away with all the garbage, and none of them will go to jail. We got 5 months to put the lawless behind bars. And I'm talking about a lot of lawless politicians that have stolen your money, that have stolen from you. Thou shalt not steal. Who's worse, the looter that's running into a small business owner's store and stealing directly from that small business owner and destroying their property, or a politician who goes into your back pocket and says, I have every right to take it from your back pocket. I have every right to open up your wallet and take your money. I have every right to not put that money where it was actually allocated to go to. What? Yeah, that's what's been going on. And Trump don't need the money. He's proven that because he doesn't even take the salary. He donates the salary every quarter. His presidential salary, he has not taken one penny to be the president of the United States. And he's been more verbally abused than any president ever. That's righteous, not unrighteous on his part. But to verbally abuse him and to lie about him day after day after day, the media that we're talking about that's corrupted is a lawless media. You cannot get around this fact. You cannot fight the fact that if they're lying, they're lawless. It's as simple as that. So this is a total issue about Torah. We are a Torah truth ministry. We are all about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And if I didn't do this broadcast today on this subject, I would have been in sin. Because I was told by the Ruach HaKodesh several days ago, you're going to need to address this. You're going to need to tell the people about this. You're going to need to put your opinion. And I could have put Facebook posts out there and been completely misunderstood because they don't hear the whole message. You put a little blurb out there on Facebook, and it's always going to have the opportunity to be misunderstood because they're not hearing the whole sermon. You're giving them just a little soundbite from your sermon thinking that that's going to help, and sometimes, unfortunately, it only makes it worse. It only causes more problems. So I'm going to do, we only got 4 minutes, and then Lanny's coming on. I'm going to have this playing, and then I'm going to come on in on Lanny with our Hair on Fire. I've got to try to be able to see here because I don't even have my glasses on. I'm just using 2 phones. I don't even have the computer open, and I got to use the computer for that. But this is Tucker Carlson. This is pretty powerful, and we're going to continue right after with the rest of this powerful message. So please stay with us and then come back after Hair on Fire because I want you guys to be able to minister on this subject. I want you to be able to pray on this subject. I believe we need to fast. I believe we need to fast and pray right now as as the true Talmudim of the end times. We are the true Galal Talmudim, the true committed disciples of Yeshua, and we need to step our faith up right now and put it to action and be boots on the ground, soldiers for Yeshua. We need to be part of the army that we are and really, really take our place, take our position, be ready to fight the good fight. This is it. This is it. This is it.
When the mobs came, they abandoned us. Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. The nation went up in flames this weekend. No one in charge stood up to save America. Our leaders dithered, they cowered, they openly sided with the destroyers. In many cases, they egged them on. Later, they will deny doing any of this. They are denying it now. But you know the truth because you saw it happen. This is how nations collapse. When no one in authority keeps order, and when so many in our professional class encourage violence, American citizens are forced to defend themselves. They have no choice. No one else is going to defend them. They know that now. It's possible that more people will be hurt in coming days. That would be a tragedy. But in an environment like this, more violence could very well lead to a cascade of new tragedies, to something far bigger and more destructive than anything we have seen so far. So this isn't over. It might simply be the beginning. We pray it isn't. It's hard to think clearly about anything that's going on right now. The chaos, the destruction, the relentless lying from above. It's all too much. Americans are bewildered and they are afraid, but most of all, they are filled with rage, angrier than they have ever been. The worst people in our society have taken control. They did nothing to build this country. Now they are tearing it down. They are rushing us toward mass suicide. So how do we respond? We must protect ourselves and our families. Once again, we have no choice but to do that. But we cannot allow ourselves to become like they are. We are not animals. We are Americans. In the face of such indecency, we must resolve to be decent. We believe this country has a future. We intend for our children to live and thrive here. That is what we are defending. All our leaders do is set us against each other. They stage a never-ending national cockfight for their profit and amusement. But we're not going to play along. We will love our neighbors relentlessly in spite of all of it, not because they look like us or share our political views, but we love them because they are human beings and they are Americans. Those are the bonds that tie us together, the bonds our leaders seek to destroy. We can't let them. We should start by being unsparingly honest about what is happening right now. Truth is our defense, and it's our country's last hope. We plan to use tonight's hour to create a record of this moment right now, to show you what's really going on in your country. We feel an obligation to do that before the facts are spun into propaganda by the liars, or the images are pulled off the internet forever, as many of them inevitably will be. We're going to begin tonight with where my family lives and has lived for 35 years, in the northwest quadrant of Washington, D.C. This is called Mack Market. It's on MacArthur.
Good morning, Lenny.
Great to have you on the call. 909 belongs to Peter. Peter, good morning. Denise Farley. Good morning, Denise. Great to have you here, sweetie. Great to have you on this call. All right, I believe it's just about time. You want to get this thing recording so we can get started and get to our...
Here we go. Let's rock and roll.
Daniel Cotton is here. Good morning, everyone. It is the Hair on Fire call, and I welcome you this beautiful morning. It is Wednesday morning, and Wednesday is usually what? It's a triple QB day, and it is the beginning, always the first Wednesday of every month. It's triple QB, and if you want to rev up your system, it is rev on triple QB, so you can do that. But here's the quote for the day. And I kind of changed it a little bit, so the quote is a little different than what it was because I don't like the word try, and the word try was in there, so we're not going to say try. The most important thing is to inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they want to do. So there you go. That's what we need to do. So what's going on today? We've got Facebook.com/the official private group page. You can go back in there. Look at Stacy Soba's training. She is doing business training. She is doing product training. That lady is absolutely amazing. What a blessing for our official corporate people. She brings so much to this company that we are blessed and highly favored, as that amazing Charlie Smith would say. 2 p.m. today, you've got ElevateZoom.com and training. That's ELEV, the number 8, and Zoom.com. You've got the link on Victoria's Tidbits. If you're not going there, you need to go there. She's been very busy, but she's still doing as much as she can on that page and bringing us so many things. So there's a link there for Dr. Ariaz's flip chart presentation if you choose to do that. Chula Vista will be opening soon with their will call, so stay tuned for that. We've got the 300 Club going on, and that is going to rocket this month. That is for the month of June. There are all of the rules for that are on promotions.youngevity.com. You can go there, click on the 300 Club, and it will tell you exactly what you need to do with that. Essential Oils is this morning at 9:30. You can go to https://zoom.us/j/935-181-27, and that is Leanne and Kent King, and you can go to leanneking.com and get more information for that one. 10:30 Eastern Time, that's at 9:30, I hope I said that, Eastern Time. 10